to the day 11 about our allyship journey. Today we will talk about power and privilege. First, we will explore your definition of power. Usually when we think about power, we already have pretty negative images about it. We see dictatorship, we see violence, corruption, greed, and we're pretty scared about it. We almost reject it. When we see women of power in the series, for example, we either have the stereotype of the Mad Queen as Daenerys Targaryen in Game of Thrones, or Cold Stones as Claire Underwood in House of Cards. And this comes from our definition of power, which is power over in domination system. The idea is that my needs are separated from your needs. We are in competition. Yet, power is neither good nor bad. The definition in Latin of podere is to be able to. Power is the ability to mobilize our resources to attend to our needs. It's the ability to act, to influence, to mobilize our internal resources such as hope and resilience, and the external resources such as friends, allies, media, money, to reach our needs and our goals. The idea is to move progressively from a power over perspective to a power with perspective, from a domination system to a partnership system. This cooperation vision of the world would be a place where the male half and the female half of humankind would be balanced, where the values such as caring and respect and non-violence would be highly regarded by both men and women. So we all need to deconstruct our learnings and try to move from power over to power with. Let's talk now about privilege. Privilege is actually invisible to those who have it. For example, as a French woman holding a French passport, it's possible for me to travel to almost 170 countries out of 200 with no visa, no question asked, no invitation letter, no money on my bank account, no job, no guarantee given. This is a privilege, and that was almost invisible to me until I met people from other countries who are struggling very hard to make the same thing. Privilege are benefits attached to your group. They do not depend on your specific abilities but more on the social appreciation of the groups you belong to in the society you live in. Privilege is belonging to what is considered the default in any society, the standard, the power of normal, the beige flesh band-aids group. Privilege is a greater sense of safety. You don't have to fear for your lives when you interact with the police. You don't have to fear for your children's lives when they walk or run down the street. You're less likely to be followed, interrogated, or searched by law enforcement because you look suspicious. You can remain silent in the face of inequity. It does not concern you directly. It's the power to weigh the need for protest or confrontation against the discomfort or inconvenience of speaking up. Privilege is having the benefit of the doubt. By default, you seem nice, not a threat to others. You are trusted more easily. As an experiment, Australian people of different racial and ethnic identities tried to board public buses, telling the driver they didn't have enough money to pay for the ride. Out of 1,500 attempts, 72% of white people were allowed to stay on the bus, against only 36% of black people. Privilege is accumulated power and wealth through generations. It's being more likely to support your children into early adulthood, helping them with expenses such as college education, first cars, and first homes. It's having greater access to power. It's when your cultural names are less likely to influence whether you're given the opportunity to interview for certain jobs. There are many types of privilege. Heterosexual, cisgender privilege. You never have to worry about which bathroom you can or cannot use. You never have to worry about whom you can marry. You can adopt a child with less difficulty. You don't have to worry about being rejected by your friends, family, or religion based on the person you love. You will never have to come out, or you will also never have to worry about the law directly intruding on your personal life. Walking in the street holding the hand of your partner or kissing in public without being worried is a privilege of straight couples. Christian privilege means that holidays your religion celebrates will always be realized. You will always have a day off from work or school on a Christian religious holiday. This is not necessarily true for holidays practiced by other religions. There are many other types of privilege: slim, extrovert, body-abled, citizenship, social class, age, attractiveness, clearer skin, and so on. And all these privileges add up, they intersect. This is what Kimberly Crenshaw called intersectionality, when aspects of a person's social and political identities mix and interconnect, combine to create different modes of discrimination and privilege. It is a new type of caste system. We are not a unique story. This goes beyond the binary definition of goods and bads. Each individual is a combination of victim and oppressor. Each identity is made of a mix of discriminations and privileges. So what should you do about it? Should you feel guilty? Should you feel shame? Actually, guilt is pretty useless. It is the glue that keeps the privilege and the oppression together. The idea is more to understand how the system works and identify the privilege you hold. Naming is already the first step to transform the system. The second step is to really reflect on what you want to do, how you want to transform the world using this special help that you had at the beginning of the race. That is basically understanding the difference between equality and equity. I know I'm often asked what I think about the quotas and affirmative action, but basically Scandinavian countries would never have reached the level of women involvement in politics and leadership they have now without quotas in the 70s and in the 80s. Affirmative action might seem unfair because when we have privilege, equity feels like oppression. Equity means that you give a special help to people that might not have started the race from the same point. Yet, when we belong to the up category, it's very hard to recognize that we don't start from the same point. A very interesting exercise for this, for example, is the privilege walk, when you can start on the same line with your colleagues or friends. According to different questions, you make a step back or a step forward, and you actually see that we don't start with the same chances in life. For example, some of us had more than 50 books at home and some had none. Some had to work hard to pay for their studies, and some studies were paid by their parents, their family, without any issue. Recognizing that we had these differences at the beginning is what allows us to set the system for everybody and be inclusive of all the realities, and not considering that the dominant collective is the norm by default. So, as an exercise today, let's evaluate your individual level of privilege. I invite you to take your notebook and to give a ranking from 0 to 10 of your perceived privilege in your current country in the following sections. 1, sex, male, female. 2, gender, cisgender, transgender. 3, marital status. 4, age. 5, weight. Are you thin, overweight? 6, skin color. 7, physical ability. 8, age. 9, attractiveness. 10, sexual orientation. 11, wealth, yours and the one of your family. 12, social class. 13, education level. 14, religious beliefs. 15, profession. 16, mental health. 17, housing status, from homeless, renting, owning. 18, citizenship, from refugee, migrant, undocumented to documented citizen. 19, neurodiversity. 20, political beliefs. 21 parental status, 22 extroversion level, 23 accent, and 24 language. For the 24 categories I give you, let's sum your final score. And then, when you find out and have a clear picture of the privilege you have right now, try to think how you can use it for a better good. Thank you in advance. Have a great day.